welcome to Destination Adventure. My name is John Griffiths. I'm the lead environment artist for EU Sandbox 2, and I'm the product owner for the distribution centers. Before we delve into, I'll put my slide on for a start. Before we delve into it, everything that you're going to see is currently in gray box, so just keep that in mind. So, these distribution centers, what are they? Well, first off, they're the biggest location we have on the ground outside of landing zones. The reason why they're so big is intentional. We wanted them to accommodate as much world and mission-based gameplay as possible. Each location supports multiple landing pads and hangars, making them accessible to as many players as possible at any one time. There's even a road network to support transit from the planet's surface, into the main building and to any berth ships. So every distribution center will be owned by a faction. Depending on the faction and where the distribution center is located on the planet will determine its specialism. Now, each specialism will lend itself to different missions and gameplay opportunities. So let's talk about some factions for a moment. So, an example of a major faction would be the UEE. Now, at their distribution centers, they're likely to be more specialized towards military supply, research and development, or communications, depending on which branch of the UEE it is. They will have a much stronger military presence in the area, and missions here may be more hostile with combat-orientated, team-based raid opportunities. Other examples of hostile gameplay that we're thinking of is hacking and stealing, searching for and destroying a specific item, tracking and eliminating any VIPs, and everyone's favorite, eliminate all. Grey Cat Industrial would be an example of a minor faction. So their distribution centers will be more specialized towards gathering resources, manufacturing, assembly, shipping. There would be a security presence here, but it won't be that as strong as a major faction. And missions here would be more suited to friendly gameplay loops, though we won't be ruling out hostile missions like corporate espionage. Some other friendly gameplay types. Cargo hauling, like I said, resource gathering and mining, maintenance of the location. But that's enough of me talking about it. How about we show you where we're up to with these distribution centers? Thank you. So to talk you through the corporate spaces at these locations, please welcome Rainer Rick to the stage.
Hello, hello. So my name is Rainer Rick. I'm a lead environment artist at the Montreal studio, and we've been working with John's team on the distribution centers. So John just showed how massive these locations are. He also presented the industrial sections on the ground level. And I'm here to present the administrative area of these facilities that the Montreal team has been working on. So, they're located above ground, just below the tower highlighted in the picture. Inside, you'll be able to explore the corporate office space and interact with the administrative personnel. Accessible via the lifts in the hangars, and also the industrial sections we saw earlier. In addition, we've added also landing pads in front of the lobby, specifically designed for smaller ships and ideal for short stays like pickup or delivery missions. And we can't ignore the fantastic views we have from these platforms, a reminder of the vastness of these facilities. Now, let's step inside the lobby. You'll find the atrium, which is a central point of the administrative area, providing access to various locations of the corporate space. Within this space, you'll find the reception desk, and as a newcomer, you'll be expected to report here first. So here you can hand over your deliveries or pick up packages and earn reputation points with that faction. So also expect to see corporate ownership reflected through branding, color schemes, and product placement throughout the corporate hub. And with the use of overlays, we'll be able to swap these out depending on the ownership. And here's an example with Grey Cat, showcasing their vehicles and some shiny armor. And, back on the topic of reputation, as it grows, you can expect to gain access to the executive office spaces. From here, you'll meet with unique quest givers, and depending on your reputation level, you'll receive various mission types, either friendly or hostile. And finally, the distribution centers were designed as an evolving location. We've built this with future expansion in mind. And in the back of the lobby, for example, doorways could eventually lead to additional office space. So, enough talk. Just before I show our progress so far, I want to give a big thank you to the Montreal team for their work on the administration area. Thank you. And as John mentioned, we're still in gray box phase, so just keep that in mind. But let's take a look. Thank you very much. And now let me welcome back John on stage. He's going to continue the presentation. Thanks a lot, guys.
Team did a great job with that video. Okay, so something we've been working on that's unique to this location is raids. Click on. So raids are team-based missions with a focus on high-risk, high-reward operations. As Carl mentioned previously, you'll be able to choose how you gain entry to these locations. Coming prepared and geared up will make the difference between success and failure. Ultimately, you'll need to work together in order to succeed. So these raids will have you breaching the interior of the main structure, highlighted here. Now, each interior will comprise of rooms that reflect the location's specialism. For example, a shipping-focused distribution center will have rooms dedicated to the storage of cargo. Looking to the future, we're planning on having distribution centers with subterranean levels that will be accessed from this interior space. These will expand upon and increase the difficulty of these raids. Now let's take a look at one of these raid missions in action, but please note that this is early gameplay prototype of a raid. Thank you. So, as you saw in the video, the team took a more aggressive approach to getting inside and taking what they wanted. But this isn't the only approach you can use. Multiple points of egress allow you to be stealthier, and it may make it easier for you to avoid obstacles in your path. Now, reputation will also tie into these raids. Missions will have varying objectives depending on the player's reputation level, and dynamic events may also be triggered during the raid, so players will need to adapt to an evolving situation. This could range from dealing with additional security personnel to other players arriving to defend the location against you. Something else we've been prototyping is how we can utilize the multi-tool to create gameplay puzzles. Physically interacting with the environment around you changes the puzzles for everybody. With multiple add-ons for the tool available, you may have to get creative when finding a solution to the problem in front of you. In this next video, we show you how using the track to beam attachment can open up new paths to your objective, but it's up to you to decide what path you can create with what is available. Let's watch the video. So, yes, thank you. Now, obviously, it was, this location would be possible with several people at CIG, so my thanks go to Manuel, John, Jack, Martin, Farouk, Luke, Chris, Mustafa, Sam, Tom, and Rob. You've been excellent. Thank you to Rainer and his team in Montreal. None of this would be possible without their efforts. And yeah, thanks to everybody here and online watching. Really appreciate your support. On to the next one.
Hello. This is a good segue from the distribution centers, as I'll be talking to you about different aspects of cargo and freight on behalf of Art and Design. My name is Nick Etheridge, and I'm an Assistant Environment Art Director. So obviously, cargo isn't just about boxes. It's a big part of the game. Almost every aspect of the game has some kind of involvement with cargo. And I'm going to briefly go through some of them now. So let's start with missions. How will hauling contracts work in-game? We'll be introducing the Interstellar Transport Guild, as well as formalizing some of the main hauling and cargo companies that you'll be working with. As you do more hauling contracts, you will build up your reputation and relationship with the guild. This will lead you to gaining more lucrative contracts for specialized cargo and destinations, such as different forms of hazardous cargo, perishable cargo, riskier routes, and more. So what do I mean by hazardous and perishable? Well, as you know, there's lots of commodities in the game, and different commodities have different properties. As you know, with events like Xenothreat, we have some special cargo types with different attributes, such as time-sensitive cargo or quantum-sensitive cargo. But those were a small selection for the event, and they were the two-handed carryable types anyway. We'll be expanding those types, plus lots more types, to the wider game and to these hauling contracts. So how does this affect gameplay? It will affect the choices you make when you are handling, storing, and traveling with the cargo. For example, with size and weight. Is it carryable? Do you need a tractor beam? What type of tractor beam do you need? Is it a handheld one or a ship tractor beam? Some containers can only be moved with ship tractor beams, for example. With health, has the container got good integrity? Is it holding fragile goods? Do you need to handle it with care? You can't just throw all containers about. For temperature control, do you need to ensure the container is powered so it can keep the contents cool? Or do you need to get to your destination quickly, otherwise the contents may perish? For security, can the container be locked or hacked? Can the contents be scanned, or is the container tracked? Will there be pirates or law after you when you're holding this container? Hazard containment. Is it radioactive? You might need the right protection against it, as you may have seen in Jens's presentation earlier. Can it explode? You might not want to put these containers on a more exposed section of your ship. And many of these attributes are going to be visually distinctive. So conversely, if you want to steal, for example, some cargo on a hull sea, which does have very exposed cargo containers, you might want to avoid shooting blindly and accidentally blowing up your potential profits. So look out for those types of containers. Back to mission progression. We'll be introducing perks and rewards as part of fulfilling contracts and raising reputation with these companies. For rewards, we'll have branded ship and tool skins, branded clothing. There will be collectibles to decorate your hab, hangar, or ship, or you can put them anywhere you want. And there'll be more exclusive rewards that we'll be revealing later. Thank you. For perks, you'll get access to more items in shops and discounts on specific items. And all of these rewards and perks you need to earn in the game. You cannot just buy them. Next, let's have a look at freight elevators and hangars. I knew you'd be excited for this. I'd like to show you a short video to demonstrate how freight elevators will change how you view your hangars and how you use your hangars. No. Thank you. Thank you. So, as you can see, hangars, they will become persistent and personal, meaning you can stay there as long as you want. Whatever you leave there will persist and will be yours to use as you see fit. Your hangar won't just be a place that you leave from in your ship. It will become a key base of operations to handle your inventory and storage needs, and you'll be able to request your ships from an ASOP terminal from within the hangar itself. Location inventories won't be magic and instant anymore. This means that the freight elevators will be one of the main ways you interact with your local inventory. Items stored at the location can be requested via the elevator kiosks and will be brought up in a physicalized state to do with as you want. This would be done through a dedicated interface screen to manage large volumes of items. It won't be using the personal inventory system. The change is obviously a really big quality of life improvement to retrieving ground vehicles. No longer do you have to travel thousands or millions of kilometers to specific places in the verse to get your vehicle. You will get them straight from your hangar. You'll also be able to bring up ship components, so your hangar is now more of a maintenance bay and outfitters where you can do repairs and swap around items and things like that. So in short, persistent player hangars in combination with freight elevators will dramatically change what you can do in your hangar. It will be a home to do as you want, which has always been the dream. That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. And I will pass you over to Todd Pappy.
CitizenCon. Come on, I can't hear you. All right, there we go. So, we'll be talking today about something special. It's an update on something that we talked about a little while ago, but we feel it's the future of Star Citizen, and it's the culmination of multiple different game systems coming together. So why don't you play the video? All right, so base building. All right, it breaks down into two really large gameplay sections, planning ahead and prepping, and then you've got the on-site where you're actually going to build. So with that, you need to figure out what your goal is. Is it to have a home with a nice view and relax? Is it to have a trading post where you want to create and sell items? Is it to gather resources available and move on to the next area? Or is it to be off-grid and be completely self-sufficient? So with that, with your prep and everything like that, we've got blueprints. So the recipes. Everything in the game is fabricated from a blueprint. Players acquire blueprints via reputation rewards, missions, or rare NPCs. With any blueprint, you can actually do research on it and then create different variations. With materials, ranging from the common to ultra rare, you might find them at the local shop or have to travel around the universe to collect them. Unrefined, refined, simple materials, or even complex components will all go into the fabrication. With this, then you've got location, location, location. First area is high security, so you must purchase the land. The base is actually invulnerable because of the planetary shield tech. A security will show up to protect it as well. You pay for the privilege, you're taxed. So at this point, you won't have the best resources available. You won't have access to the best resources available on the planet. If you don't pay your taxes, the shields will go away after a period of time, and the base will become derelict and will collapse. But this is low risk, low reward. Then you've got low security. So again, you must purchase the land. It's owned by an independent corp, gang, or faction. Again, you don't have access to all the best resources on the planet. The base is vulnerable. AI NPCs will show up and protect the base if it's attacked. The protection will escalate over time. Player can also build defenses to help mitigate this as well. And then it's medium reward, medium risk. Then you've got lawless. So this is no protection other than what you build. There's shields, anti-air. Players can disable the shields by getting close to them and destroying them. High risk, high reward. Since there's no taxes, no protection fees, you get a high return on the resources that you collect. Now, there's some cross-shard and server meshing considerations that will kind of adjust this design in the future, but we'll get into that later once we're really building it. So from here, you've got the tools. So this is what we would consider a surveyor. With this, we want to actually cater to everybody's playstyle, whether you're solo or in an org. With this, you've got different buildings that you can produce, from small, medium to large to XL or XL. So with the surveyor tool, you can only build the small buildings. With a vehicle, you can build small and medium-sized buildings. With the Galaxy, you can build small to large structures. And then obviously with the Pioneer, Pioneer can do it all. And it still works as a mobile base. And we'll talk about some of the more expanded features that we're adding to it in later on. So, and then it's also, we're exploring what can be done in space, not just on the planet. So from here, you set off on your journey. So with the land claim, you put your tool down where you want, you launch the drone that is built into the machine, and then from there, this allows the player to access the base building and also land claim mode. With the land claim modes, the player can actually change the size and position of what area they want to claim, and it also shows you the cost and taxes associated with it. If it's in a taxable zone and you don't own the land, this interface will default to it. So if you own the land or it's in a lawless area, it'll automatically go to base building mode. So with the overhead view of the land, you can actually place down buildings exactly where you want. You can see the resources beneath the surface, and then you can also place multiple buildings before you actually build. So you can see how it will all kind of come together. You'll see the resources that are needed for it. And then you can also switch back and forth between different modes, which are showing off the resource network and how you link basically power generators to consumers. And then the player can move or deconstruct existing buildings right now with no charge. Fabrication. So when you basically build these buildings, they don't come with any furnishings. And if you didn't bring any with you, then you want to build a fabricator. So depending on what you want to build, there's different sizes of them that support buildings from decorations, armor, weapons, components, and even ships. So like base building mode, you need blueprints, resources to craft what you want. Everything fabricated is produced it produces a physicalized entity. Stats and quality will depend on the quality of the materials actually used. Once you've done that and you've built your decorations, now you can actually fill the room the way that you want to fill it. So furnishings can be purchased at different locations, or they can actually be fabricated. You can do that via first person or in a dedicated mode in the surveyor's tool. With that, you've got different types of buildings. So you've got utility style, which would be garages, freight elevators, landing pads, storefronts. And then you've got extractors. So with extractors, we want to make sure that nothing in regards to resource gathering is fully automated. A level of player engagement is always needed. So as Nick talked about before, there are different types of commodities, radioactive, perishable, et cetera. What you'll be doing is pulling out full containers. Then from there, it'll be repairing, or there's wear and tear associated with it, or even misfires like you saw in Thorsten's talk and Guillermo's talk yesterday. There's also upgrade paths for making them more efficient or resilient. Power generators. So with different types of power generators, there'll be some that are more cost-effective as well as effective in different areas. Solar panels will not always work in darkness. Fuel generators will need to be filled up every now and then batteries to store excess power. Then you've got producers. So things that will require the players to combine different resources to produce new items. And then you've got defense. So anti-air, anti-personnel, and then shield generators. And then the big one. We start development Q1. So